confession to make. When I got to college to study piano performance, I still didn't know how to use the metronome. And at the time, it was mortifying because I thought I was the only one. But now I know with 100% certainty that I was not alone in my struggles with the metronome. Here's the truth. Most piano players know that they should use the metronome, but most piano players also understand the deep frustration that comes with trying to use the metronome and getting annoyed by the incessant clicking that ends with the feeling that the metronome actually made you worse than you were before. And here's the thing, there's nothing wrong with you if you can't use the metronome. Most piano players struggle with it because, let's face it, it's difficult. And there's not a lot of information out there that breaks down how to learn how to use it. But today, we're gonna change that. In this video, I'm gonna show you the secret to mastering the metronome, why so many piano players fail with the metronome, and how you can fix it for good. Hey piano people, I'm Ashley. Welcome to Ashley on Music Studio, where you learn how to practice smarter, not harder. Let's dive in. So let's talk about why the metronome feels so frustrating for most of us. Playing a piece through with a metronome takes a fair amount of practice. But there's this common misconception that if you can hear the beat of a piece, or if you can even clap along with the beat in a piece of music, that you should be able to dive right in and play your piece with the metronome. And so that's what most people try to do. They don't really do any prep work, they just dive right in with the metronome. But here's the thing, the metronome is a tool. And just like you wouldn't open up a brand new power saw and dive in and start cutting stuff up without maybe reading the directions or watching a how-to video, the same can be said for the metronome. You need to learn how to use the tool before you dive in and try to use it. So let's break this down into 3 simple steps. But before we do that, can you relate to any of this? If so, hit the thumbs up button and comment below the video and let me know what's resonating with you. Copy the link, share it with a friend or with a group of adult piano players who also need help mastering the metronome, and make sure that you're subscribed to the channel so that you don't miss any of my videos. I release them every single week and they're all focused on helping you practice smarter, not harder. Okay, back to the 3 steps to master the metronome. And my favorite thing about these 3 steps is that 2 of them don't even involve being at your piano. Step 1 is to start without the piano. So here's a tip that most people skip. Before you even touch the piano, practice clapping or tapping along with the metronome. If you don't want to tap or clap, or if you are doing something active while you're doing this practice, you can also just say 1, 1, 1, 1 over and over and over again. And what we're going to do is start at a very, very, very slow tempo. This is my favorite metronome, and I will link this in the description below, but you can also use an electronic metronome or even an app on your phone. Let's start at something slow. We're gonna go to about 60 BPMs, and we're gonna turn the metronome on and listen for the click. And we're gonna focus on syncing our voice or our claps exactly with the clicks. So clap, 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 clap. The metronome creates an external pulse. And the purpose of the metronome is to help you create an internal pulse that comes from within you. And the only way to really do this is to use the metronome as a tool to help you develop that internal pulse. But if you're just turning on the metronome and then going on autopilot, you're not being very focused or conscious about bridging the gap between the 2. So in order to make this practice super effective, you're going to do it at a bunch of different tempos. So we just did it at 60 BPMs, but you can also do it much faster or much slower. Let's actually try it really fast together and see if you can clap and count along with me. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Do that over and over and over and over again, and see if you can get your voice exactly with the clicks, not before, not after, exactly with the clicks. Then you can try it at another tempo. So let's do it at one more tempo together. We're gonna do it at 88. So listen first, and now start to clap along. And you can say 1, 1, 1, 1, or clap, 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 clap. Just something to engage your voice to make sure that you're staying with the metronome. When I was in college, I had a 20-minute commute to my campus and home from campus. And I would actually take my electronic metronome in the car and turn it on before I started driving, of course, to be safe. And I would just count with my voice the entire way to school. At first, I would just say tap, 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 tap as though I were clapping or tapping along with the metronome. And each day I would pick a different tempo. And I'll tell you what, after a couple of weeks, my internal pulse was so developed, it was crazy what a difference it made. In just a few weeks, I'm going to be teaching a free sight reading class where you and I can hang out in Zoom and you will learn to increase your sight reading accuracy with 3 simple steps so that you can play with more expression and flow every time. The seats are going to fill up really fast, so I'm going to put the link in the description below so that you can click on it, enter your information, reserve your free seat. I can't wait to see you there. Step 2 is to apply structure. Okay, so this one is a game changer because you start to actually make a connection between the external and the internal pulse and the structure of the music. And we'll break down exactly what that means in just a little bit. So you're gonna pick one tempo. Let's pick 88 again, and we're gonna actually pick a time signature. So for the sake of ease, let's start with 4/4 because that's the most common time signature. And that means we're gonna turn on the metronome and we are going to clap and count specifically to 4. So we're actually counting all of the beats in an imaginary piece of music that is in 4/4 time. But we're just gonna do quarter notes, okay? So we're just gonna clap along with the beat. We're not gonna do anything crazy or anything fancy. So try it with me. Let's listen first. And we're gonna clap. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, a lot of people think that this step isn't that important and they might be tempted to skip it, but don't do that. This step is essential because it builds the structure of the music. And one of the most important functions of rhythm in a piece of music is something that most people don't know about. You see, it goes beyond just being able to play the rhythm correctly. It actually has to do with how your brain organizes complex information and recalls it again in future practice sessions. If you are counting out loud, you are telling your brain, my hands do this on this beat. My hands do this on this beat. It helps your brain organize everything and keep a consistent structure. The rhythm is kind of like a skeleton that holds all of the information together. And if you don't count with the metronome, you lack that structure. And it leads to issues that a lot of people attribute to something else. Issues like hand coordination, finger independence, accuracy, and so much more. Step 3 is to apply this to your music. So don't just make the mistake of turning on your metronome and trying to play through your piece while counting if it's something you've never done before. Pick one measure right in the counting. So this piece is in 3/4 time, so I'm gonna write 1 and 2 and 3 and 1. And once the counting is actually written in the measure, then you can start to try to clap and count out loud. And I'm likely going to do this hands alone. So I might start with the right hand of 1 and 2 and 3 and 1. And I'm going to do the right hand until that feels easy. And then I'm going to focus just on the left hand. 1 and 2 and 3 and. And once I've done enough repetitions of both hands that they feel really easy and the rhythm is really solidified, then I'm going to tap them together like this with the right hand tapping the right hand and the left hand tapping the left hand. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1. And then, and only then, after you can tap the rhythm accurately while counting it, while using the metronome, then you would do the same thing with playing while counting with the metronome. So then you would do just the right hand by itself, playing it and counting it and using the metronome, and then just the left hand and then hands together. It sounds like a lot of work, and in the beginning, the very first few times you do it, it will feel like a lot of work. But when you do it over and over and over again, it gets easier every single time. Because every time you practice a measure this way, you are building this solid foundation, you're developing that internal pulse, and you're giving your brain more structure. So it makes your practice way more organized. You're able to recall things easier and things get into the deeper layers of your memory. This method will make a huge difference in your rhythm and metronome success level. And if you want me to take you through some actual rhythm exercises together so you can see this even more in action and so that you can actually like pause the video, rewind, and do some exercises like this with my guidance and instruction, I'm gonna link another video on the end screen where I break down some rhythm exercises and I actually go through them with you, and you can do that video as many times as you want to really help solidify this skill. I'm also going to put a link to my free Facebook community right here on the end screen. If you're not already a member, get your booty over there. You're going to find even more free content that helps you practice smarter, not harder. Happy practicing.